Here we are at 6:34 p.m. on July 3rd, right before the 4th of July. Glad you guys all made it. Fantastic. Appreciate it. Our land acknowledgement is that we'd like to begin by acknowledging that we gather today on the ancestral homelands of the coast, supposed to be coastal Salish people. We got to get that right yet. Anti-racism statesman is the Sudden Valley Community Association, SVCA, State Against Racism in All Forms. And we'll move into roll call.
There she is.
Is that my friend?
Hey, you get to sit over here. Because I'll take it for you.
Thank
He
you.
reserved that because he wouldn't sit next to me, Elizabeth.
Oh, well, you know,
No.
nobody can trust you.
There you go.
Okay, so Elizabeth, we're glad you made it. We got Mitch here.
Yeah, yes, you're.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Ken here. We got Gary back to join us. Welcome back, really. We did miss you.
Thank you. I missed you too, but.
Yeah, no doubt. Rick here, live, not Zoom. This is pretty good.
Hey,
we're doing good.
Live. He really is live.
In the flesh.
In April, made it? Good, fantastic. So if you guys could take a look at the agenda and see if we could think about adopting it. Take a look at that for a few minutes if you could. You should have a copy in front of you. It's the one that's got the logo on it. It's in color.
Are we, under 7?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're having a proposal, I see now.
Good.
I move we adopt the agenda.
Second.
All approved?
Good job on the notes.
Cool.
Nice job.
Cool. Let's look at those, the adoption of the minutes from the last June 5th meeting. That should be a copy of that in front of you also. I will say again, publicly, that Rick does a fantastic job on those, like
Oh, thank you.
nobody I've ever seen. Thank you so much for doing
Rick, you
that.
can't raise your hand to correct the agenda, the meeting
No,
on the
I
notes.
no, that's right.
Because you did it.
Stand up and say, I object to these notes.
Good job, Rick, by the way.
Thank you.
So anybody want to make a motion on that? A second?
I'll motion to adopt the minutes from last meeting.
Okay,
Second.
why not, Elizabeth? All approved? All right. Rock and roll, we'll bless them. It'll be on permanent record on our website with the agenda and also the minutes are on there for if anybody ever need to look up anything, it's there. And the whole community can check it out also, what's going on.
Comment, may I comment on that? I was really handy to be able to, very happy to be able to go on the webpage and look. Since January, all the agendas, all the notes are all there.
Yep.
Let me tell you, that is really refreshing. I mean, staff's doing a great job. It's a pleasure to see that. It really is.
Yeah.
Here.
I agree.
Good. That hasn't been done, I am assuming, for some time.
For years, there were no meetings from long-range planning for over 2 years. So no,
Yeah.
not at all.
So good point.
It's fabulous that it's happening.
All right.
And things are being implemented because of it.
Yes. Well, we're starting to, we'll see what happens.
Right,
Yeah.
well, we got the sticker thing going on.
Okay. Well, that comes out in the newspaper. I'm taking this off topic, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Welcome you walked in.
Thank you.
We're gonna proceed, I don't really have any major announcements. I think the announcement will be updated as we proceed through the subcommittees. And so that's when the updates will happen. But for right now, we're gonna start with our subcommittee coffee that's been working on for the last 2 months. And Elizabeth and April have worked on this, and they're gonna give us an update on that. And I believe that they're gonna have a presentation for us with somebody that is here with us tonight. I'll let you guys introduce and tell them what that presentation is all about.
So this is Ryan West. He put together his bio and just a business plan and a menu for possible coffee house / ice cream shop. So I'll let him sort of talk about it because I think he did a great job explaining.
That's
Hi,
you.
everybody.
Dave.
My name's Ryan West, and a proud member of the community since September. Committee's permission to stay seated.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just gonna jump right in because I understand I'm on a bit of a time restraint.
We'll give you 15, and if Woodmill probably will have some questions and might roll into 20.
Okay?
Be okay?
I prefer it be interactive. If you have a question, don't
Oh,
wait,
okay.
please just speak it.
Okay.
Let's keep it conversational is how I would prefer to keep it.
Okay.
But starting in, I've been in restaurants since I've been 16 years old. Very menial task, busing, serving tables until 96 when I moved to Myrtle Beach. Started working for NASCAR Cafe. And I ended up opening 3 multi-million-dollar restaurants for the NASCAR Cafe. The first one was in Orlando at City Walk. And you're welcome. And we arrived to, they were way behind schedule, it was still a hard hat area. So we had to help finish construction of the space before we could start creating a restaurant. So being in the absolute mess of it all and still thriving taught me at a young age a lot of different lessons. Going to Sevierville, Tennessee, where Dolly Parton's family owns the entire town. Dollywood's there.
Yeah.
Beautiful area. That was another interesting opening. It was very straightforward. Training, hiring, training, soft opening, grand opening, all the drivers would arrive. All but Jeff Gordon because he was affiliated with a different race restaurant. Dale Earnhardt was there, he would fly his chopper in. And then we opened, the last one I opened was in Las Vegas. And that was quite exciting, being attached to the Sahara Casino. Unfortunately, when they wrecked the Sahara, they took the restaurant with it. So I believe there's smaller versions of those restaurants, TGI Friday sized, still in existence in the Carolinas.
Thought TGI Fridays went out of business.
He said size.
Size.
Oh. I think that's.
Indeed,
Okay.
indeed.
Turn on my hearing aids.
And those years respectively were 97, 8, and 99. 3 years in a row, big openings, millions of dollars. Ray Hand was the owner. Very interesting work. Got to meet a lot of celebrities. Now flashing forward to 2003, I returned to Pennsylvania in 01 after being in the Carolinas for many years. In Slippery Rock, just north of my hometown, has been dry since Prohibition. 2003, Ginger Hill Tavern opens as the first establishment to serve alcohol since Prohibition.
Wow,
Wow.
I didn't know that.
And it was a college town that was always ranked in the top 5 in Rolling Stone and certain party school ratings, even though it was dry. So they were thirsty for a legal beer.
It's hard to be successful in a dry town for 100 years.
For sure. So when we opened, it was gangbusters. It was insanely busy. College kids loved it, locals loved it. Building relationships was absolutely a must. Got to meet a lot of the town. Year and a half later, I opened North Country Brewing. In 05 in Pennsylvania, craft beer wasn't near as big as it was here in the West Coast. So we attracted a tri-state business pool. We pulled from southern tier New York, from eastern Ohio, Pennsylvania, some of like Morganton, West Virginia. We were on a constant 2-3 hour wait every day all day. Quite busy, and it still stands. All these restaurants that I've opened, out of the 5, 3 are still standing and turning millions of dollars every year. I've held every position imaginable in a restaurant, from dishwasher to general manager. Most recently, at North Country Brewing in Pennsylvania, I opened as the bar manager, moved up to front of house. Here in Seattle, I've been the assistant general manager at Pike Brewing. I've been the general manager of Lagunitas Brewing taproom down in Ballard before it closed.
It's my old neighborhood, that was a pretty good place.
Yeah, down on 49th, yeah.
Yeah,
And working for a global brand taught me a lot that I didn't think was possible in the restaurant business, just having that much pull because of who you worked for. It was quite interesting. So that was just a brief tidbit about myself. It's a little more detailed in the bio. I encourage you to read it. If not, you won't hurt my feelings. Moving on to what I imagine, I had the pleasure of meeting with the board president, Keith McLean, and he toured me a few different locations. We considered the guard gate at gate 1 as a drive-through coffee shop, and it seemed like a home run. But then when you consider the traffic jam you're gonna cause for the residents and folks coming off of Lake Whatcom Drive, dealing with the county, trying to get all that refigured so you could have a longer turning lane, maybe a center lane for, it just didn't make sense to go with that location. We considered doing a drive-through kiosk in a parking lot in a different spot, but ultimately it wasn't something that the community wanted to give up and rearrange folks drop off and pick up for school kids on the bus. There were some important things to the community that they just didn't want to disrupt. So, not a problem. He showed me the old administration office down at the golf course, and we walked through, and it quickly opened in my mind, if we knock down the majority of the interior walls on the inside, make it mostly one big room, leaving the furthest small room intact as a reading nook, we want to go ahead and punch a hole through the wall. There's a rectangular window by the existing front door of that space. If we put a doorway there and create a beautiful patio outside where it's now landscaped flowers, turn part of that into a patio for outside seating against the windows, we think it could be a really great space, serving coffee, pastries, light bites, and ice cream, of course. Let's see. So, for the purpose of the business plan, I used a generic name, Sudden Valley Coffee Company. It could very likely stay that, or there's a handful of names being tossed around, being thought about. But we went with that just for the purpose of this presentation. And we want to make the coffee shop a hub for the community to get together and maybe make new friends, possibly rekindle old friendships. I want to be creative, I want to be inclusive, I want it to be exciting, I want it to be live music, art, poetry. I just see a lot of good community activity over coffee. You can do open mic nights. I know there's a lot of musicians in Sudden Valley that would love, I would imagine would love a space to show off their skills and talents.
We have one sitting at the table.
Oh, wonderful.
Everyone looks at you right there.
And I think that coming in right next door to El Agave, I think it could be a beautiful marriage, because what we would offer would not disrupt what they've done for a decade well. We We would open way earlier than them. We would offer a few hot breakfast items, pastries from places like Mount Bakery, something low. I want to be as local-minded as I can be from the Bellingham craft world, whether it's pastries or Forecast coffee. I've had some Forecast coffee and I really like the flavors of what they're offering. And I think the community would like that as well. So I don't think there'd be a clash at all with the coffee shop in El Agave. I think we would benefit each other. I think their crowd would like what we have to offer, and I think our crowd would love what they have to offer. So I don't foresee any problems there. But competition is competition at the end of the day, but I think it would be a good marriage. So the market opportunity in Sudden Valley, whenever we moved here, we really was shocked that there wasn't an active, bustling coffee shop here in town. And it's a 4 to 6 mile drive to your closest wonderful cruising coffee or Woods or Starbucks up on Lakeway. So it's not terribly inconvenient. But what if you could drive a half mile or a mile, stop down and see your neighbors having a coffee and sit down and enjoy them, enjoy the company? I think that could be, that would only be a wonderful thing. So Google told me that the population as of 2025 here in Sudden Valley is just 300. Households are just shy of 3,000, and it's showing 5,400 adults out of that total amount. So out of those 5,400 adults, the percentages seem to be that 63% are coffee drinkers, 36% of those 63 buy their coffee locally outside the home.
How'd you come up with that number?
That's what Google let me know whenever I was asking Google those questions. How many coffee drinkers, how many adults, what's the households made out of, a census of the Sudden Valley area. Yep, granted, it was a bit of light research, but I think even the deeper research would uncover the same results.
The number didn't seem like out of the realm. I was just curious how they came up with
The number that I thought was a little high was the median income. See, where did you get that?
Google as well.
98,000
Per household.
per household?
Per household.
Yeah,
Because
a lot
yeah,
of seniors.
A lot of dual
not
income,
retired.
right?
Pardon me?
A lot of dual.
Dual income? Right, because the average income per person, right, obviously is 60 in the
Right.
state,
Right.
around there, right? So we're saying that most people have dual incomes.
Right.
And that doesn't include the people that are retired here, and blah, 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 and the average income, so the average income in Bellingham per person, I thought was like in the 80s, like Bellingham, right? So I thought, but this is household income, not, this is
pretty sure
household.
It's showing household, yes, sir.
Because it seems, in my opinion, it seems high. The only reason I say that is if we want to raise dues by $6, it's a big deal, right?
Oh, I see.
When we do something here, right, we say the dues are gonna go up by $17 a month, and our dues are very, very low compared to any HOA anywhere,
I agree.
right? And when we wanna raise the dues by consumer price index, it seems like a big issue. And so that's just why I'm saying 98,000, it seems high to me, but
But when was the last time that it was put up for a vote? It may be that the population has changed a
Right.
little bit too.
well, I know, housing costs obviously have gone up,
Yeah.
right, substantially.
Gentlemen, let him go back to his presentation.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
We want to rip you up more later.
Okay, good, I hope you do, I really do.
Well, the only reason I'm saying is income is a big part of your ability to spend money for coffee. That's how I'm trying to get around
I
to it.
don't disagree.
Right.
We're a nation of coffee addicts.
but that, I'll just make one comment, a very accurate number we got from the fire department, and also I got verified through the office, we had 7,780 people in the valley.
Oh, that's good.
7,780. That was like last week.
Just better numbers.
So as those figures shake down, local coffee buyers would be about 1,300. And we're simply trying to capture in the first year 10% of that market.
That's conservative.
As a conservative number to build a financials on. And it still works out to be a decent monthly and annual turnover in return. So we're, looking to capture that 133 daily customers, and that's just on the coffee side. The children, I would imagine, would lead the charge for the ice cream. But maybe I'm wrong, children of all ages love ice cream.
And adults.
So we're all about ice cream.
All ages.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
At Malton Shakes, I'll be there for sure. You'll find yourself in line behind me.
So at the coffee shop, we're expecting an average ticket total to be $6 to $8, and again, that's a very conservative number. We're hoping it's closer to 10, but be very pleased if it's 6 to 8, because I think that's gives you a platform to build on. And you can still be lucrative at that number.
So, this is a really nice presentation. I'm just gonna actually ask you just a hard question right off the bat. TI. How do you think that we're gonna negotiate if this were to go through the tenant improvements on that space? You're talking about some structural, maybe not structural movements, interior movements, a patio, a new exterior door, all right? A lot of plumbing, sinking, permitting to get past, local food handling, right? And mind you, I'm in favor of coffee and ice cream shop. I'm a big supporter of it, but I'm kind of curious. It's a really good presentation. In your mind, who's doing TI?
The majority of it would fall on the coffee shop. But what I would ask for is what beautifies and brings more value to the building, the door, the patio, very permanent structures.
You want to structure that into the lease, into a pay down on the lease?
Correct, yeah, we would ask Sudden Valley for help there, whether it was a share or if it was handled all by Sudden Valley. And then I would expect as the proprietor to go ahead, covering the new plumbing, the new electrical, bringing in the triple sink, all the equipment, knocking down the non-load bearing walls. And Keith thought that there was enough skilled labor already in Sudden Valley's workforce that we wouldn't have to go outside for contractors.
Wait a minute, you're talking about our maintenance employees?
Yeah.
Or, are you really? You're talking about using our maintenance employees for this?
Or,
Is that not a great idea? Because I don't know.
They're not construction tradesmen, they're maintenance workers.
Okay.
Just talking about it on the demo part.
On the who?
There's parts in there, I was on the walkthrough with him, with Keith, that did a lot of stuff he wanted to demo. And, I think that was part that Keith thought we could handle the demo part, but he has to take everything from there.
Yeah.
Is there a number on like the renovations? Is there a number in your head? Like, is there?
I don't know, because I don't know if I'm going with a contractor or am I going with skilled labor that exists here in Sudden Valley.
You got an idea, kind of like this is gonna be like 20 grand to make this place the way I want it, or 30 or 40?
Number.
I'm hoping it's more in the 20, give or take,
Right.
is what I'm hoping.
So we're not a municipality, so this is not, scale, all right? So it's not David's taking wages. But we don't have certified electrical workers, certified plumbers. All right, and those are tenant improvements, and that building, like some of our other buildings, has always suffered from trying to use our maintenance workers to do improvements inside facilities, which are not to the level that we would expect from a contractor, and so therefore, some of our facility modifications historically, not saying this time, but historically, have been subpar. And so we're better off with contractors. because this is their area of expertise, and if something goes wrong, it's on them to fix it.
Sure.
So as a general rule in business, right, when you own a piece of property and you're trying to attract a tenant to that location, right? And the tenant, and then you have like a box, and the tenant says, in order for me to make my business viable, I have to spend X number of dollars in this box. And then the person that owns that building say, I understand, right, that's general business, and they go, what we're willing to do is give you 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, free rent, right? Whatever that is negotiated. We say, we'd like to give you 3, you go, I really need 9, we end up at 6. You know what I mean? Nobody's happy, right? Those are the kind of things that happen in the business world.
Not trying to go ahead and pin him down on a dollar amount for how much this construction work is or anything like that. And as I said, you want to structure it into the lease, we can structure it in the lease, but using our maintenance employees to do construction work, I think it's a short sight.
That's a different thing, that's a different, yeah.
So I think we should be totally open and having a business discussion later down the road about how we would do the TI to get there. But right off the bat, it should be not with our maintenance employees, that's not their forte.
Okay, and just walking the neighborhoods, I know there's lots of contractors that I'm
Right.
sure would love to give
Sure.
bids.
Bunch of, we can give you names.
Oh, yeah, there's
Yeah.
lots of, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would love, if the work isn't done by Sudden Valley, I would
Right.
love for it to be done by its residents.
Right, and they would be happy to do something like that because they're gonna use it at some point in time, right? And be part of it, yeah.
Have you ever seen a construction worker without a coffee in his hand?
See, Gary, they're gonna be asking for, structured payments. I'll do this job for you,
Don't
but
believe you
here's my
said
payment
that.
schedule and coffee.
Exactly.
And ice cream for the kids.
I think whether we think a coffee pastry, that's what I'm looking for, the pastry shop would be successful here, that's one thing. How we do it is another.
Yeah.
And then who we do it with is the third, I think. So for me, I think it would do well. And I'm not a coffee drinker, but I can see me meeting friends there for tea and pastry and, and morning stuff. We don't really have a good breakfasty type place here,
No, we don't.
so,
There
yeah.
isn't one in the South Watcom Valley.
There's hardly one in Bellingham anymore.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it's getting hard to find breakfast.
So, every coffee shop that tried to open up here failed. Now, it could be location. That's really close to the front.
Yeah.
But they've all failed here.
Yeah,
I think a lot of it had to do with-
To get down.
That's right, so location's a big issue there.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the, sorry,
No, I just think that a lot of it had to do with the management and the structure, business structure of that.
I think this is a bigger opportunity and also a more expanded one.
one of the things I liked that what you said was the whole Starbucks strategy and the Woods Coffee strategy is not only to sell coffee, but to meet people. You know what I mean? Like the European thing, like a place where you can say, oh, let's go meet here and have a coffee, right? It's the meeting place. That's how they became successful. They rolled out the meeting place where people can meet somewhere and have a coffee and talk about something. Yeah, they sell coffee and they have the drive-through and they added on all that too. That's kind of an add-on, that's a plus. But, you could buy coffees lots of places before Starbucks came on board, but there was no really meeting place to sit down with people, right?
Sure.
So I think having a place where you could sit down and say, Mitch, let's just have a coffee
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Yeah.
And we'll meet at the coffee shop.
I think it's an
Right.
add to the community.
That is a big ad, and you can sell coffee express where people just have to come and go as well. The meeting place is, I like that part of it.
And good Wi-Fi.
Oh, and really good Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So what do you want from us? You wanna go, I take it you wanna go into the clubhouse, into the old administration offices? That's your place, you wanna go, all right, so what do they want, what does he want from us?
So I'm looking for your approval to present in front of the board
Do you want a motion to be able to say, do we want to support this going forward to the board?
Well, so I like everything you have in here, right? The only thing missing for me, and just like, here's what I would like, okay? I would like to move into this space. I would like to pay $2,000 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever the thing is, you know, that number, right? For 5 years, right? I'm prepared. I will do all the improvements. I need 1 year free rent, you know, I'm just, whatever the number is, I'm just giving you some ideas, right?
Sure.
I'll go into a 5-year lease, I want 6 months free rent, because I'm gonna do all the improvements, whatever, and that's the piece I'm missing here, right? Your qualifications and everything like that, we'll let you go, and like, I think most people here would say, look, you've got what it takes to make this work, and we would wish you all success and we'd be there, but what are the details of what you want from us?
So I didn't include any of that, and I didn't give it a bunch of thought because I thought that would be a multi-conversational step, both here with the board multiple times. And I understand the board's the governing body with all things Sudden Valley. So I would need to sit with them and we would have to discuss and be reasonable both sides and make sure that each side is happy and we're a good fit for one another.
So I'm agreeing with him. I don't think you'd want to come in with that level of detail. I think that it would be more of the board committing to open up a dialogue to build a plan to do it. I would be hesitant if I was him or anyone else to come in saying, I'll pay you this much money, I want this much in rent. I think what we should be doing is the board should be saying, okay, let us get into give them a commitment to work out a plan to go forward. And a business model that makes financial sense for everyone and bring it back to the board for approval.
Yeah.
Well, you know, what I was asked from Keith was to have Brian present to us.
Right.
And if we saw good interest, we were to, probably we'll talk after you leave, and we will have a conversation.
I interrupted Gary though. Gary had a comment, and I apologize, Gary.
Oh, no, that's good, go ahead. No, I was going to agree with what you were saying, that all the financial stuff
It'd be
and
worked out
all of
later,
the new
yeah.
negotiations or something that would happen between you and the board.
They got a
And
flesh.
at this
they gotta
point in
flesh out
time,
that
I think you're all you're just asking for is support to go to the board with your
Correct.
proposition, and then the negotiations can happen from there.
Mhm.
So, I think that's kind of what along the lines you were talking
that's
about.
I'd like to make, just to cut to the chase, I'd like to make a motion to do that. I'd like to make a motion that we, the Long Range Planning Committee, support this gentleman taking his plan to the board for them to enter into a negotiation to install a business there.
And a question, if I could, before that. So are you proposing to operate this
Yes.
yourself? Okay.
Yes.
And do you have an idea what the seating area would be inside? How many seats most people would be meeting?
I'm hoping to put at least, I had a very brief period in the space and it's not completely opened
I
up.
know it's hard to.
But I'm I'm hoping for 12 or 15 2 and 4 tops on the inside, space allowing, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
And that reading nook maybe providing some comfy, like a chase lounge and a love seat or something for, you know, people to tuck away and read a book. And then on the patio, depending how much space the board will afford me, it could be as few as 6 tables, or I'd love to see 10. It's really, there's some variables there that I'm just not quite sure of, quite yet. But I hope that gave you enough to.
Yeah, whether it was gonna be, 4 tables or a dozen tables. That's
I had 9 staff in there and it was a little bit tight, but then they had a lot of desks and work equipment.
So, one more question.
Sure.
So, what about soundproofing? And probably not so much for your business, but it gets quite loud in El Agave. And I don't know if that is gonna bleed over into your business and if that's gonna have to be a consideration when they do the construction within your space.
So what I'm seeing is the only thing, I'm hoping that we can gain entry through what's now the handicapped door.
Okay,
So we don't have to share a doorway with El Agave, and nothing should be open towards that restaurant.
okay,
And the only thing we'd share the hallway for is the restrooms.
Okay.
But if sound becomes an issue, you can use sound deflecting panels. There's companies that will come in, it's called pinking out the room, making sure the acoustics travel properly.
Right, yep, okay.
Biggest problem I'll have on sound transmission in there is gonna be the air ducts. We'd have to go ahead and probably insulate the air ducts to reduce the coefficient.
Do you have anything else you want to share with us?
The one last thing I do want to touch on is the sample menu I've provided. It's not a far-fetched menu, and it might be a little bit too big. I'd like to come in on the smaller side with food offerings, and I want to listen to the community. What do you want to see here? What do you like? What don't you like that I'm offering?
Malts and shakes. I'm just saying.
It's hard to serve ice cream and not at least do milkshakes. Absolutely.
I think, actually, I think for early golfers, having a breakfast sandwich of some sort, along with that cup of coffee.
that's here,
So they can grab,
it's in here,
Yeah,
second page, breakfast burrito, avocado toast,
Yeah.
breakfast sandwich.
definitely.
Because there's no hood and ansel system in that space, so we would probably use induction burners that only get hot when an induction pan or pot is placed on top. And they don't give off grease vapors, so you don't need a hood. And also electric convection ovens. Again, there we would just need a simple fan ventilation. There's no grease vapors to call for a hood and ansel.
Okay, I think that's gonna be all we need.
I ran over and I
I
think.
have a
thank
motion
you
on
for
the table,
time.
so we'll entertain the motion on your departure.
I like the idea of
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
local people only.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.
Same here. I'll restate my motion. I made a motion that long-range planning support his proposal, go to the board for their consideration to enter a negotiation to install this business in the clubhouse.
I second it.
Good man.
Just open for discussion.
So, do you have a proposed board meeting date?
No, he looks like he's ready to walk into the board now.
Yeah. So we're putting together an agenda for next week, that's what I'm asking.
I would say he's ready, and how many years has it been that place has been unoccupied? From a long-range planning point of view, the last one should have taken it up, they said they were going to, they never did.
Yeah, no,
No
I'm
one's
just-
fighting for the
just
space.
asking, if you want it on the agenda, we can do that.
I would.
Well, we gotta finish it here
I know,
first
I
before it
just-
goes there.
I'd put it, all right, if you want, I'll amend my motion.
Yeah, we have a second.
All right, I put in my own amendment. I amend the motion to be that we, at the next board meeting, this be presented to the board for their consideration to enter into a negotiation to put that business in the clubhouse, in the old admin office. Can I have a second on that one?
Second.
There we go.
Open for discussion.
The only comment I want is I think you should have a little bit more detail when he goes to the board, like you should be a little bit more prepared. Like, what his revenue is and all those things, I don't
He's
think.
got that.
No, I'm just saying that's not that is important, what I want.
It is important.
Well, it's important to him because he's running the business. What's important to the board is what's the Sun Valley's responsibility is, okay? So like how much rent is he willing to pay?
That's all negotiable, that's
That's
this
negotiating the
is
lease.
conceptual.
Right, but I would like to see him do some homework, so
This
some
is
numbers.
conceptual, you're
I
over,
just don't
you're
agree
over
with
the
that.
line.
You're overdoing it.
You're
You
over
don't
the
think
line.
you're ready for that yet?
He's not ready.
Go,
No.
we don't
This
know,
is concept.
we don't know what the full criteria is gonna be for tenant improvements. So until you know what the full criteria is gonna be for tenant improvements, you'll have no
You're getting
idea what
the
the cost to
cart-
install.
I thought he
is.
would have that, he would know that.
Well, he's been in there like for 30 minutes.
No,
Yeah.
you say, let me put it.
I agree, it's gonna need to be discussed, but this is not the time and place, I don't think. I think we have to get the concept, let him discuss with the board and see if they can come to an agreement on something, and then
So what's the board gonna agree to, the concept?
To engage into a negotiation.
the
To a
first
negotiation.
step will be to, begin that
Interesting, bit of a
negotiation.
slow process, but, all right.
Yeah, well, that's.
He can't go to the health department and say, this is what I want to install there. They're gonna say, you're not a tenant and you don't own it.
Okay, so this was my opinion. I thought that you could go to the board and say, here's my experience, here's my business plan, I'm set to go. I wanna pay X number of dollars per month based on the amount of money I'm gonna spend for improvements. Can we make a decision on this, yes or no? And then at that board meeting, the board can say yes, and boom, it's done.
So let me guess, you're ready to go ahead and put a fixed price estimate down on the cost of improvements?
Well, I think that with his experience, he should be able to get really close, and that's on him.
That's right construction action, I don't.
But that's on him, because he's the person going in.
Yeah, but that's all negotiation
Without
stuff.
belaboring it,
Yeah.
I have to agree, we have to agree that we disagree, all right? Without, you wouldn't sit here, see, so that's it.
That's why.
That's because he knew you.
Did you see that earlier tonight?
Yeah, we don't have to figure that out from all we have to come together as
Yeah, I'm calling,
agree or not to
I'm
move
calling the
forward to the
question.
next step.
I want to call the question. I think we've talked it.
Yeah.
Ask all in favor.
All in favor of moving up Brian West to the board for this proposal?
It's
Okay,
unanimous.
we got unanimous. You guys killed that. You did a good job. You'll be able to relate, you got to even vote. You
Yeah.
should vote. You should vote.
Actually, you should
even
recuse
vote.
yourself.
Probably
I should,
You
Yeah.
should
I'm
recuse
fine with
yourself.
that.
So formally say that, I recuse myself.
I recruit myself
I
on that.
want to get that on tape.
Yeah.
And seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
As long as he's got brownies, I want it.
There you go.
Brownies and shakes.
Without a malted milkshake, no way.
oh, I know, I said milkshakes.
I bet you the
Okay,
kids
let's
these
move,
days don't even
let's
know
move
what a
to
milkshake
item
is.
8, which is subcommittee parking. It was Ken and Chad. Chad, he had excused absence tonight, the family deal. And so, Ken, could you update what you know? And there's some things that have happened that Rick has been involved in, and Mitch.
Sure.
And Rick did take it to the board
Right.
last board meeting. God bless.
So I'll give it a good shot. Just in summary, basically, at the last meeting, we agreed that parking stickers should be issued so we can identify whether we have a problem with Sun Valley, not enough parking for Sun Valley residents, or we have non-residents coming in. So, Ray and Rick took that to the board, and the board approved getting parking stickers made, and I think Ray, you already have them being made?
They're
They're made,
ordered.
ordered, they're being made, so
Yeah.
there's gonna be issued one per household at this point in time?
Well, that's gonna be flexible, because some people live close to the marina,
Right,
won't
so-
need one, so.
Right, so there's, as a general rule, it's gonna be one per household.
To start, but we got some pushback on that concept, so
Okay.
people that live farther away.
So, and then a survey is gonna be done once those stickers are on vehicles.
So there will be stickers on owners and little information slips to non-owners, and we'll have to try and do some counts 2 or 3 times a day to see what the proportion of those are. So that's part of the assessment.
Yeah,
counting.
so we can assess it and then we can move forward from there.
Yeah, and in picking up some loose ends as the staff was taking over to get stuff ordered and stuff, there's a few things and details that they will need. So I think there'll be, once they get the stickers, they're gonna need a meeting with the fine details that got brought up at the board with people that are visitors.
I don't think we have to wait for the stickers to have that meeting.
Okay, when you guys ready?
We should
need to have it
we
with
should be
Morgan
ready
and
to
Max.
drop when the stickers get here.
Okay.
That's my thought.
So Morgan and Max are pretty much the ones that are gonna be putting them on the cars and stuff. So, and there is no guest passes available at this time, because this is just check-in.
There will be an informational sheet that
Informational.
guests will place on
That's
their
what they need, that
dashboard,
informational.
so that we can tell who's a guest and who's a.
They need that.
A short
That's what they're
blurb will be in the valley, in the news, coming out in the next couple of days.
Yep.
A short blurb will be in there with
Yep.
more information to come.
Yeah.
Is
And
the
Tanya
plan
put
that
in, correct?
It's out, yeah.
non-residents pay?
Not at this point, this is
Okay.
an assessment.
It's an
Okay,
assessment profile.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that up to speed. Subcommittee for solar panels on Runway.
Rick, you wanna do it? You want me to do it?
Well, paperwork's been submitted by Michael to PSE, they're evaluating and we're waiting to hear back.
And that's great, that's as far as we're supposed to go, I mean,
Yeah,
board
that's all we
said,
can do, yeah.
let's do it, let's look at it, no cost, no risk to the association.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to item 10, which is subcommittee assisted living. It's Elizabeth and myself, and I've talked to a real estate guy that does commercial stuff, and he has connections with now 2 developers. He's shared the plan with them and has supplied the parcel, and he's got all the information that he needs. I just talked to him Friday before last. I
Yep.
talked to him, was with Rick, and he thinks that there is a good opportunity. Pretty much we're looking for long-term lease for that land. We're not gonna run it. We want developers to come in and their money and build it and do all that stuff. But he says it's not far-fetched at all, and it's enough acreage. And there's definitely a shortage of assisted living facilities in Bellingham. It's like big time.
Yeah,
My real estate guy that I'm working with, he's well aware that his mother has been in assisted living. He's well aware of the need, and needs someplace better, need a better system. But he's calling these 2 developers himself every 2 weeks, and if these guys dry up on him, he's got 2 more. And I'm supposed to call him every 2 weeks also, just so we keep this thing alive.
yeah.
So I get more information, I will let you know.
I think one of the things that this, this is not a fast thing. This
No.
would be probably 2 years
Oh, yeah.
to get even breaking ground.
Yeah.
But that's what we're supposed to be doing.
long-range plan.
It's a long-range plan.
Wow, what an interesting thing to join. Don't get me too.
Yeah.
But you love being good.
By you, maybe Elizabeth, okay.
Well, the whole mission of this segment of long range was to find stuff that can bring revenue to Southern Valley.
Yeah.
And we in need. I mean, if the thing works out on the Runway, that would be long-term lease. If
Yeah.
assisted living, that would be long-term
Yeah.
lease
With minimum risk to us.
yes, minimum risk.
Yeah,
And opportunity, if there's an opportunity to have a community coffee and ice cream place, that would be fantastic. That's growing the community, bringing them together. It's something that we really need and brings more value to Sudden Valley to have those kind of businesses, for sure. So appreciate all of your efforts in that. And the parking thing has been a nightmare, and it's been brought to this board directly. The last couple of board meetings, my word, heavy. So I think
Tomorrow's
there's,
the big day, by the way, for parking, the worst day of the year.
yeah, we didn't
Oh, boy.
make the deadline. We got,
Yeah.
we got,
Luckily, it's gonna be cool.
yeah, we almost made it. We got stonewalled. We finally got there.
Yeah.
We're there now. Feedback from the community, I have not gotten emails, but I have gotten a lot of support on the parking thing. Everybody's all excited about that.
really?
Yeah,
I'm
they're excited
surprised.
about stickers. About time, there's like, about time, like, let's do something.
I wonder if I would be able to sell my sticker.
Oh, I'm an issue. So we have guests tonight, and you don't have community comment period here, and I think that we have some
It
people
is.
here. You only have feedback from community, so we don't have comments. You might ask our 2 guests if they have comments.
Well, that's a good idea, since we have people in the gallery here tonight. Would any of you have some comments? Okay, good?
I'm Elizabeth's shadow, I'm not here. That's my sister.
Oh,
Oh,
very good. Okay, cool. Welcome to Sudden Valley. We love Elizabeth. Great to have her.
We're keeping her.
One of the things with my sister, she runs a lot of the things at her very large church, including a community kitchen and stuff, and she's giving me all kinds of info about how to deal with a kitchen in a facility like we hope the barn will become,
Yeah, no doubt.
so.
And then item 12 is barn 6. And I've got a really cool picture for you guys.
Did you ask Mr. O'Keefe if he wanted to talk?
Yeah, I did.
he did, yeah.
Yeah, I did. What?
What are you asking me?
Did you want any comments tonight?
Not yet.
So this is your opportunity right now.
This is the end of the show.
In the comments period.
I thought you were gonna be talking about
Excuse me.
this barn and the other barn, what you were gonna do here, so not seeing an agenda, I just came in here seeing what I could pick up.
Okay.
So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Well, you'll see a rendering of barn 6 tonight. Just got this from the architect. This is supposed, what he's worked on so far, and what they do, the rendering is they take the square footage and exterior and stuff, and they kind of throw it together. And this is where he's at so far. And this next week, after the 4th of July, we'll probably have the final costing of this building. And then once we have that, we will go to the board with it.
Are we going next week? Is that for sure?
Hopefully, yeah, he's supposed to have the numbers.
Well, like I say, I'm putting the agenda together, so
Put it for the
do we want to?
June the 10th. Yeah, let's go for it.
Just,
Yeah.
Looks great.
It looks like a barn.
Yeah, I like the barny effect.
You can pass it, you can pass it around.
Barns have to be red.
That is
It
red.
is red.
It looks orange.
It's reddish. Ish.
The printer
We'll pass it around and you can also see it also. Pass it to gallery if you want to see it.
looks great.
Yeah.
Back there first.
Yeah. Let us see.
I did have a little question on barn 6,
Yeah.
from our discussion when, Rick and I, and who else? Chad. Yeah. I noticed there was like only one water fountain in the castle court area. I was wondering if there needed to be more than one.
Okay, what, I didn't, okay, you're a better engineer here. So he's at 15% conceptual. And so this goes to the board, and the board says, okay, we're up with it. He's at 15%. Come on your feet now, join in, let's go. Yeah, come on. Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Okay, I'm just curious, you're gonna have like 15 sweating teenagers out there playing basketball.
And I like the water fountains where you
One
get
water
to
fountain.
put your bottle up and
Yeah.
refill it.
I think maybe
Yeah, that's
having 2 or 3 in there,
Probably so.
Bad idea.
We did confirm, between first floor and second floor, that one, because it's only, second floor is only a piece of it, will be soundproof. So there could be a wedding up there, and they're not gonna be impacted by roller skating, volleyball, that.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
That was the
Wondered
only
about
thing I
that.
noticed, was there was only one water fountain on one.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna be adequate.
Yeah.
Now that I see that you got a design there, if I could speak up about this. First of all, I studied engineering for a year and architecture for a year. I got a good feel of that. I even designed my own thing if barn 6 were to be kept. I would open it up on the north side so you could have concerts, you could have a grocery, on Saturdays and stuff like that. Having said that, and this is gonna sound kind of like Sully Sullenberger explaining why you can't land at LaGuardia and you can't land at Teterboro. This whole ground is gonna liquefy. At some point, we are going to get a big one or even a moderate earthquake. I've been trying to push through how dangerous this is, and in particular, how dangerous this is. I've never even gotten to my asks, although I've been to several meetings of the water department, talked to the city, and I was the first speaker, I guess, or the second speaker at the combined thing that they had there. My 3 asks for this whole area, the whole watershed, is one, We have to have an analysis and a modeling for what a 9.0 earthquake is going to do to this area for a shake of about 7 minutes. Now, I was told, and even told you guys, that the water tanks that they put up there were modeled for 9.0. I'm like, okay, that's realistic. I couldn't get a duration from it, and I don't think there is a duration. They just worked out the vectors, and it's like, okay, it can absorb that shock, but there's no duration of it. Second, my second ask is, I would ask that they fly in the summer, or in the spring and in the fall, over both sides of this lake and get high-definition LiDAR images, because we don't know what's sliding up there, particularly up there. You get a crack, it starts to go, and eventually it cuts loose. And you could have a situation like Osa, or you could have a situation like the Vion Dam, and it goes, and it slams into this lake, and we're gone. If we have a moderate earthquake, this is all going to sink. And, you know, you're either going to be lucky with this planning or unlucky. Lucky if you're sued, and maybe, most probably, director's insurance isn't going to cover it. But the other side is you guys could be up for manslaughter, either voluntary or involuntary manslaughter charges, if you build, knowing now what we know about the seismic risk here. Now, nobody knew about this, you know, in the early 1900s, you could put together a map and, oh, it looks like South America fits into Africa. And then they found out that the ground was expanding underneath the mid-Pacific and the mid-Atlantic ridges, and that was the mechanism for doing that. But it really wasn't until 1960s that the whole idea of seismic analysis came in here, and they realized that this stuff is constantly moving, and they can measure which direction it's going to be. I think you got a real problem building anything there. My immediate recommendation would be to demolish barn 6, shore up as best you can barn 8. I don't want to be here now if there's a shake that's going on, I'm running outside. Even if you shore it up, I'm not going to be in barn 8, I'll finish there. But you understand where I'm coming from.
Yep, we hear loud and clear.
Good.
Our next meeting is gonna be August 7th, Thursday at 6:30 in the same room.
So did you mention who was presenting at Barn 6 at the board meeting? I don't think you shared all the details.
We're still working on that. Once we get the numbers, we'll have a chat.
No, who is presenting?
I believe I get to be part of that.
I thought
And
Carletti's
then
gonna
also,
be here.
also the
architect
architect.
was gonna be.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the exact presentation hasn't been worked out.
Right.
yeah.
It's on the Mohawk haircut guy.
It's good to have the architect there because he would know all the codes that the
Yeah,
building,
and he said he'd be
that
there.
the building is being built for, right? He's gonna obviously make sure that it meets all codes,
No, absolutely.
right?
Ready for adjournment? Unless there's anything
Sure.
else. Okay, we're good.
John,
We'll
thank
close
you,
out.
ladies, for all the, again, I think the notes and the documentation